show for you. We're going to be talking to the founder and designer of the Galapagos Art Space here in Dumbo, Brooklyn. I want to welcome Robert Elmes.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And we're also talking to journalist Jane Toub, who is the founder of the Arlekino Theater Troupe, which is holding a special charity event for the troupe on August 14th at the Galapagos Art Center. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we are going to be talking to them about art, about the Galapagos space, and all the interesting projects happening there that you should watch out for and participate in. And meanwhile, we have some wonderful music for you. This is like my new favorite artist I'm going to play for you right now. Jane was at the concert with me. You know what I'm going to I'm going to play Zaz. This is like this singer, everyone, as soon as they hear her, they get obsessed. She's a French singer, her name is Zaz, and this is just one of her songs, since I can't play the full CD, which I would, but for now, just want to get it to you. If you're just tuning in, this is Around the World. I'm your host, Valeria. We're playing some awesome international music. We were sort of in a French vibe. We have a little Zaz and a little dance. And I'm probably saying it with a bad accent. I feel bad right now because I have a French expert in front of me. I didn't know. So one of my guests today is Jane Toub. She's a journalist and founder of the Arlekino Theater. And I didn't know she was a French major. Second major.
But from the Sorbonne.
From the Sorbonne, yeah. I know. Excuse us. And I also have with me the founder and designer of the Galapagos Art Space, Robert Elmes.
Hello.
And welcome again. So we're here today because there's a special event happening at the Galapagos Art Space, and Jane is the producer of that event. It's called Carnival, and it's going to be an amazing event for charity. Carnival. I'm used to saying Carnival is the French way. I'm used to the Brazilian
Italian, actually.
Yes. So the Galapagos Space is, if you haven't heard of it, it is an amazing art space here in Brooklyn. It is one of the most innovative spaces that we have here today for events, both cultural and private, and all kinds of interesting things. And they have a lot of programs there as well, and with the goal to help the arts flourish in New York City. So I want to ask you to tell us a little bit more about the space.
We're about to be the New York City's first LEED certified green cultural venue. Some of the things I think are very unique about it, we have a 1,600 square foot lake in the middle of the venue.
Wow, that's amazing.
We have islands on the lake, and we have seating on those islands in front of the stage. So the whole venue is sort of pinwheeled around this idea of a lake inside of a building. And we think it's a very unique and beautiful concept in which to see performance.
And was that your initial idea?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In Williamsburg, we had a small pond. It was an old loading dock that we'd converted into a pond. And yes, so the idea of moving to Dumbo was to drag that pond into the middle of the venue and sort of expand it and then put island seating on it. It's all wrapped by a mezzanine, which is a beautiful sort of jewel box sense of venue. And I think the design succeeds very well.
Wow, it's very exciting. And I know that you come from nearby Vancouver, and you were raised in a very rustic sort of environment, right?
That's correct. Yeah. I grew up in a very, very small town called Crescent Beach. And in the particular area that we were, I lived in a forest, and there were 4 houses.
Wow.
So it was a very tranquil and sort of boys' life place to live. We were on a bluff over the ocean. There was a ravine that went down to the ocean with a creek in it that had fish in it. And it was a wonderful place.
So are you sort of bringing that idea from what you grew up with and merging it with the urban landscape here?
Well put. Yeah, frankly, I think that's true. I think that you should be able to go out in New York City and see all manner of astonishing cultural venues. You should walk into venues and your jaw should drop. I mean, this is New York City. And building another sort of black box venue for whatever reason you would animate that space for, theater or music or something like this, I think is an injustice, frankly. I think that New York deserves incredible venues, and to bring natural elements inside of them, I think, is to really sort of give a balance to a sense of design and therefore an experience by the audience of a very urban environment, and also to him back at a natural one. So these are both things that I think that we need. 4 years ago was the first year that more people lived in cities than elsewhere.
Really?
In the history of the world, and that's a very interesting achievement. So if we're going to condense ourselves into larger urban areas and have access to the culture and each other and the spirit of urban life, then I think we also need to kind of weave nature back into it. And we haven't done a very good job of that.
That's true. Mostly we cover up the nature, and that's what I was always missing in New York. I'm always, it is termed the concrete jungle. But it doesn't have to be, and I feel like, especially for art, we need some nature. It's freeing, and we need it to flourish.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the Galapagos Space specifically has a goal, a larger goal in regards to arts in New York City, right?
Yes, essentially what we do is we grow artists from the emerge to the mid-career, which is to say, people after the beginning, once we've once they've sort of reached a point in their career where they're stable, they're deciding that this is the work they want to do. We then curate what we think are the best and brightest of that milieu, and we grow them up to the mid-career point, from which point they go to St. Anne's Warehouse, they go to BAM, etc. And that's kind of our function.
And you sort of, you help to showcase their work, is that what you do? Or you develop them in programs, or what is the approach?
It depends on the group that we're working with, but we try to take in the best ones that fit what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and we put them in residence. That means that they're performing normally at least once a month, and we're trying at that point to skill build with them.
So artists, if you're out there and you're listening, keep this in mind.
We always take submissions, and we're looking for people who really want to grow their work and they can have a meaningful conversation about marketing it, who can talk about their business model, who really are sort of looking to, well, they've already acknowledged the skills that are going to help them as an artist, right? The ability to communicate about one's work and to essentially market it, right? And then we help them to grow past from that point forward.
That's amazing. That's so necessary. It's such a niche that needs to be filled, because a lot of people, they're artists, but they're not business people. Or it's very hard to be a combination of the two, to think from your right brain and your left brain at the same, at the same time. And that makes you a real force to reckon with if you can combine both. And getting help in that is something that most artists truly need.
And it's necessary now, I think, in New York City because of the cost of living. For
Yes.
50 years, New York City attracted the best and brightest to almost every industry that our city relies on, including culture, because of the low threshold of entry. So you could roll up to the Port Authority with a Village Voice under your arm and $100, and somehow you could find a perch to land on in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
But now with the cost of rent and the cost of being in New York City, the sense of opportunity has to be higher, because if an artist has to give 40 hours a week to another industry, the best and brightest won't do that unless they're only willing to do that at the beginning of their career. But there has to be a consummate amount of opportunity in the city, stages to get your feet on walls to put your work on, or New York City loses the competitive advantage that it has of being such a large urban environment.
Absolutely. It's so hard as an artist to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 1 foot in your art, 1 foot in completely something else just to get by. So it's very hard. So very interesting. We're going to continue to talk about that and opportunities for artists and the Carnaval.
Carnaval.
I don't know how to say this right.